Hello and welcome back to the Plastic Spoons channel. It is solo Plastic Spooner Jonah here again, and I'm doing another discussion on another movie. Another movie I had found and looked at it and I was like, wow, that's that looks amazing. So today I will be talking about Love on a Leash. And to give you guys an idea, before walking into this, what this movie is about, this is the description I found, or the summary of what the movie is. Love takes a furry twist in this slice of romantic comedy. A young woman falls for a stray dog with a secret. By night, it becomes a man. Follow the journey of the golden retriever and the friend who gives him a home. So if that doesn't raise a few eyebrows, I don't know what kind of shit you're in. But yeah, so before we get into this, I was talked to Andrew. I asked him what he thought, or I asked him if he knew any more movies like the one after last season, and he was just like, I was looking to do that type of podcast or whatever discussion thing, weekly, and then he responds with something beautiful like a search for the worst, and I was like, yes, that is what I'm gonna do. Search for the worst. So yeah, let's get into this. So the movie starts off with a good 2-minute silent background noise of just a bunch of areas they decided to record, like a beach, a Ferris wheel, and everything. And then you get to the golden retriever. Golden retriever has a collar on it. That to me right away is like it's a stray dog apparently. Whatever. So then, it records the dog just doing dog stuff for a bit, and then out of nowhere, boom, comes out with the voice acting for the dog, just, oh, I'm a dog, I'm cursed. That comes out of nowhere, and the audio quality is, if I was watching this movie with headphones, my ears would be bleeding. But so has everybody's who's listened to our anime podcast reviews. But yeah, so that comes out of nowhere. The voice actor for the dog's a goof, and he just runs around just complaining, just bitching about being a dog and not knowing what to do. He even goes on to say how there's one these guys come up and pet him, and he's like, "Hey, what's the big deal here? I'm not gay." So there's a bit of humor, a little bit of dark humor, edgy humor from the dog's perspective. So before anything really happens, the dog goes nuts over all these girls that he comes across. He's just like, oh, look at that chick, look at that girl. Oh, but they don't like me because I'm a dog. And then the dog, who has not been named yet, comes across this little water pond thing, and a bunch of animated glitter shit comes out of it. And the water spirit glitter bitch is like, hey, in order to become human again, you must find true love. And the dog's like, oh, okay, I can do that. So he runs around trying to get girls' attention, but they're like, oh, it's a dog, like most humans would do. And then we get a shot of our female protagonist, Lisa, with her whore bitch friend, Paula. And they're just sitting there. And Paula is looking out at all the guys, and just be like, ooh, look at him. Ooh, look at him. And if I sound black, she is black. Ooh, look at him. And, she's like, Lisa, why don't you go get yourself... I'm not going to do that. She gets on Lisa for not having a man or anything. And Lisa's like, I'm not like you, Paula. And Paula, being the whore that she is, makes fun of her for being a virgin. That was a good, 2 minutes right there is how much main female protagonist Lisa is a virgin. So that's pretty funny. And the dog, main protagonist Dog Boy, hears that and kind of tries to get her attention and somehow succeeds. He lays in front of he looks hurt or he looks dirty, and Lisa's like, oh, I'll pity you, and takes him home. Just like that. Now, as far as the quality of this movie goes, scenes do kind of make sense. And they're really quick and really short and really to the point, where almost nothing is said, but you get the idea of what the scene is. It's really weird. It's really weird. Like when she brings the dog back home, she just cleans him, and there's some voiceover acting on her part too. Like when the camera's not not on her face or over her head, there's just this, "Oh, well, you're clean now," type of stuff out of nowhere, and it was like, that's weird. It's like, I don't understand why that had to happen, but whatever. And so then, boom, the dog's clean. The dog goes. Oh, what? So Lisa has quite the trouble of trying to find a man. So the dog's problem is getting a girl, fall in love with a girl, finding true love with a girl. Lisa's problem is just trying to find a man, and she prays to God for a man. I'm sitting there like, well, I don't know if you should be praying to God, because apparently you need to be praying to the glitter spirit, because in that world, in that movie, I guess God doesn't exist. Just glitter spirits pointing out weird stuff, like giving out advice is apparently the way to go. The glitter spirit made no sense. It was just there. It was just, the glitter spirit was just something the dog kept on running back to when he succeeds in the thing that the glitter spirit talks about, like, it says to do in order to become human again. I don't know if I said that. So the dog needs to find true love in order to become human again. If I didn't say that, I'm sorry. So he keeps on going back to the glitter spirit, and the glitter spirit's like, "Oh, well, you need to do this, stupid." And, the dog goes, does that. And, the glitter spirit's, I'm not looking for an explanation, but I did just sit back and I was like, that glitter spirit is completely random. I don't get it. But yeah, so that's the thing. So Lisa is trying to find a man. And with Lisa, she prays to God. And it's weird. It's so weird. I'm trying to think of everything that's going on. But so Lisa also takes the dog in. Like, it's weird. She gives the dog the bath, and then she's like, "All right, you're on your way." And then comes across the dog again and is like, "Oh, well, you can live with me now." And that was, that's how the dog becomes more into Lisa's life. So Lisa comes across two prospects for male partnerships or potential boyfriends or marriage or husbands. I guess marriage has no significance in this movie as far as like you need a good amount of time to determine, do I want to spend the rest of my life with this guy? This movie's like, okay, it's been 2 weeks. Are we gonna get hitched or what? Anyway, so she comes across two guys. One guy, I don't know their names. There's one guy named Frank, and there's this other guy named Kyle. Frank is a random guy that goes into the store that Lisa works at, a clothing store, and is a real creep about it. Lisa works at a female's clothing store, and the guy comes in and, is like hiding behind racks of clothes. It's really creepy, and Lisa like sees him and is just like, what the fuck are you doing? And, walks up to him and is like, "How can I help you?" And the guy, let's see, this is Frank. Frank is like, "Oh, I need to buy clothes." And Lisa's like, "Oh, for your wife?" Now, that was just a weird assumption. Because, in the movie, on the guy's left hand, he has no ring. There's no way of knowing that he was married or not. He's not married, that's the thing. So why Lisa went to assume that he was, I don't know. But yeah, so then the guy's like, "Oh yeah, I'm buying clothes for my wife." And Lisa's like, "Okay, what size is she?" Looks at her for like a second, like, "Same size as you." And like, "What kind of style is she into?" "Whatever your style." That type of thing. So Kyle's a creep. Wait, Frank's a creep, not Kyle. Kyle's something else. Kyle is some form of upper management for the clothing company. Some Asian guy, upper management. Seems like a nice guy. Really, really polite. Very, very neat. and just asks, Lisa on a date. And Lisa's like, okay, yeah, sure. So when Lisa is getting ready for this date with Kyle, Doggo here, he will have a name. I will give Dog a name here shortly because I want to talk about how they got to the name. So Doggo and Lisa are in a room, and Lisa's trying to pick out clothes, and the dog, one great, one, no, I'm going to finish this. The dog, grabs certain clothes, or, there's clothes in his mouth, and Lisa's like, oh, what are you doing? And then grabs the clothes, and then she matches them up and be like, oh, wow, this dog has great style. And apparently that's a thing. So, she's, amazed that he was able to determine what's a great style. I mean, it's a dog, I don't know what to think of it. But, okay, so what I was going to say was, one good thing about this movie, it's a love-hate thing with this part about this movie that kept on which had me keep on watching it with the attitude of this is kind of funny, is the whenever Doggo was in dog form, the dialogue for him was kind of funny. He just said some weird shit, in the beginning, it's just I'm not gay, it was weird. I mean, he just said a bunch of weird stuff. Sometimes he'd just be like, I'm the boss now, or have my agent call me, or whatever. Just some weird, ridiculous type of stuff. And that was 7 years ago that gay joke was made, so I think it was not as frowned upon as it is now. But, Lisa goes on these dates, not too certain of them, and then, oh yeah, and I guess there's another guy. There's another guy that is a prospect, but Lisa just turns off right away, is her manager at the clothing store, who sounds a lot like Tommy Wiseau when he's drunk. He's weird. He was a weird guy. He was a creep. He was super creep. I don't know why he was being so weird or acting so weird. I don't know. He's very, very weird. But so the naming of the dog. So Lisa comes down and sees the dog, and it's just we got to give you a name. How about such and such name? I don't remember what the name was. And the dog, dialogue-wise, oh, by the way, when the dog is talking, or you hear the dog talk, he's not actually talking out loud to where people can hear him. It's his inner thoughts. So, just keep that in mind. So the dog in his mind says, oh, I already have a name. It's such and such, such and such. So the dog already has a name, but then Lisa's still trying to figure out a name. He's like, oh, well, you have a particular taste or whatever, or you have high standards or whatever. We'll call you Prince. All right, so the dog's name is Prince. And yeah, so that's how you got his name. So Prince. So Prince and Lisa are walking about amongst the town, and Prince and Lisa go to a clothing store, which I think, it wasn't shown very clearly, but I think Lisa brought Prince to the store to help her pick out clothes. So amongst this, in the clothing store, there's a huge riot going on of people trying to pick out clothes, and there's Prince the dog, biting at clothes or whatever. And the store, some employees hey, you gotta get that dog out of here. He's gonna destroy the clothes. And Lisa's like, oh no, he's helping me. And like a normal person, the employee's like, are you stupid? And she's like, no, watch this. And the dog picks out two, a top and a bottom to match. And everyone's like, oh wow, that's amazing. And it's I wouldn't be fucking freaking out over that. I mean, it's just the dog just grabbed two things of clothes. It's not that big of a deal. But it was so amazing, apparently. Maybe I'm just tough to please, and that's way more fantastic than I'm giving it credit for. But so somebody who had witnessed that was a animal talent agent. An animal talent agent in a clothing store, and he's like, wow, that dog's amazing. We can sign him. I can get him work. He's amazing. He can do this. I can do this. And Lisa's like, nah. But Prince decides to grab the card with his mouth. And he's just like, we'll have dinner. We'll have supper. That type of stuff. I mean, it was funny. It was cheeky and corny, but it was funny. It was funny stuff. It was the only thing keeping me alive. It was my elixir. But, yeah, so one woman in this movie that I did not understand her purpose or her being there is this woman named Rita. Rita is of some foreign country where English isn't her first language. The character, not I mean, there's an accent to this character. It sounded Russian, but anyway. So apparently, this woman named Rita is extremely close to the family. So close, she busts in to Lisa's house or apartment and was like, "Oh, do you know that guy named Frank?" And Lisa's like, "Oh yeah, I saw Frank. Frank came into the store and bought some weird ass clothes or whatever." He's like, "Well, he was trying to hit on you and go on a date with you. You need to do that." And looking at Rita is so like the character of Rita is so weird. She is like a mother character, but there's already a mother character in this movie. Actually, I missed out on something. So when Kyle asked Lisa on the date, Lisa's mom called her and it's just like, I heard you have a date, and it's like, how the hell did you hear that? Is what I was thinking, because it's like I didn't see her tell Rita, and I think she told Paula, but I highly doubt Paula is anywhere close to her mom. If I had a friend, I don't have any friends that I don't have any friends that I'm so close with their family that whenever something big happens with them, I just go and run and tell their parents. I don't tell their parents they're on a date. That's just some weird stuff. I don't know if girls do that. I don't think they do that. That's weird. I've never heard of that. I've never heard of just being like, "Oh yeah, well, my friend told my mom this." It's like, why is your friend talking to your mom? Are your mom and your friend friends? That's weird. That's weird trying to be friends with your kids' friends. You don't do that. That's weird. But I'm not saying that's what happened. I'm just saying the unlikeliness of Paula telling Lisa's mom this. It's weird. I'm not friends with my friends' parents. That's just not a thing. Not that I hate them. I just don't do it. It's just weird. I'm like in the sense of like we're close. I just don't do that. It's strange. Anyway, so Rita's like, "You need to go on a date with this Frank guy," and Lisa's like, "Okay, I guess," and it's just like, who the fuck is this Rita woman? So it's just weird. So, oh yeah, so there's a lot of like jokes that if you went back to now in today's age and just be like, "Oh well, that's not appropriate." This movie kind of has some of that, and it comes from the dog. It comes from Prince, with the gay joke. And there's also so Lisa holds up like two pictures. Hold a picture of Kyle and a picture of Frank. And Kyle is Japanese or something. He's Asian for sure. But Lisa holds out the two pictures to Prince and is like, "You're good at choosing things. Which one should I pick?" And Prince bites one of the pictures, and I think it's the picture of Kyle, the Japanese man. And also he walks away. He's like, "Oh, it tastes like Japanese." It's like, what? Excuse me? It's like, what does that have to do with it? How does it? I don't know. It was, it's just weird stuff like that. So our dog's not only a homophobe, he's also a racist. I don't know if biting a picture saying it tastes like Japanese is racist, but anyways. So Lisa's friend Paula comes up and is just like, "Well, hey, you need to get yourself more than one man. And you have the potential of having two. So why don't you just date both Kyle and Frank?" And Lisa's like, "Oh, I don't know about that." And then Lisa's mom calls her, Lisa, and Lisa's like, or her mom is like, "Well, why don't you have 4 or 6 men?" So apparently in Lisa's life, her love life is the tragic story of everybody else. It's like, they could have bankruptcy going on. They could have someone in terminal illness. Actually, Lisa's mom is ill of some sorts. I don't know what she has, but she is ill. But the biggest problem in everyone's daily life is Lisa's love life. And it's so weird how troubled everybody is by it, how much they want something going on. It's like, why don't you just date 6 men at the same time? Type of deal. So Lisa tries out the two guy dating at the time, and then she decides, she goes on a date with Frank, and it's just like, maybe I should date Frank. He's got all this money. He's got this. she goes on a date with Frank and his mother. Frank's a bit older. I should say this. Frank's a bit of an older gentleman, and she goes on a date with him and his mother in their house, and it is clear as light, clear as day, that Frank is totally whipped by his mother. Apparently his mom's like some weird-ass nutritionist or something, and is like always like in charge. She wears the pants of the entire family. And she just goes crazy. She's like, oh, you can only eat this certain much. You can only do this certain thing, whatever. So that was weird. But Lisa isn't running for the hills yet. What makes her go running for the hills is if her mom and not Lisa's mom, Frank's mom and Lisa sit down by themselves. Lisa sends Frank away like the little bitch that he is. And the mom is like, well, Lisa, I want you to marry my husband. And Lisa's like, ooh, goody. And it's like, but there is a situation. He does have a 10-year-old child. And she's like, oh, okay, I love kids. Okay, so here's the situation, Lisa. I want you to marry him, but the rule with marrying him is you can't have another kid. So that sends Lisa running away. That's kind of crappy, a young lady, trying to get married, gets married, and then just has like, well, you can have a stepchild, but you'll never have something of your own DNA or whatever. I don't know. I felt that was kind of crappy. I didn't like that. So she runs for the hills, and I was like, "Good for you, man, woman. Good for you, woman. You run from the hills. You still got Japanese taste in Kyle." So then Kyle calls her up and is just like, "Hey, Lisa, can I come to your place? I'd love to see your place." Oh, back up 1 second. Lisa's house is extremely green. I don't know where they found this place, but everything is green in Lisa's life. I don't know if that's supposed to set a tone or if that's supposed to mean something more so, but the walls are green, the ceiling is green, all of the accessory electronics are green, all of Lisa's clothes are green. It's just a green world. Everything's green in Lisa's life. I thought that was interesting, just kind of funny to think about. But anyway, so Kyle is just like, can I come over to your place? And Lisa's like, oh, okay. And so then Kyle sits down and it's just like, Lisa, I want you to marry me, and proposes to her. Now Kyle's a really older, Japanese guy, and Lisa's young, younger 20s. And it's just like, that's kind of weird. Whatever. The age gap is pretty big, but Lisa's kind of thinking about it. But then Kyle goes on to tell, oh, by the way, we can get married, but you can like go on dates or sleep with any man that you want while we're married. It's just kind of name only type of marriage. And Lisa's like, what the hell? And then Kyle goes on, see, the reason is I'm not attracted to you. And you think, ouch. And then light bulbs started going off. And then Kyle proceeds to go on saying, here's the deal. I am gay. And he goes on to say, he's just like, well, the reason why I want to do this whole marriage thing with you and have you as my beard meaning a homosexual using a heterosexual person to cover up the fact that they are homosexual, type of deal. The reason why I want you to be that is so my family won't disown me. I would like to marry you and let you have a child, have a child with you, so that my parents won't disown me. But I can also make them proud by bringing them a child. But I could also go on dates and stuff with other men, because if they knew I had other men, they would disown me, type of deal. And he goes on to say like, oh, it's such a big deal for me. I would love to do this. Love to do this with you. You're such a wonderful woman. And to me, there was like a plot hole with that, which was like, so Kyle was is Asian, and his accent gave the impression that he wasn't from America. Like he had moved here from Japan. Say he is Japanese. Say he's Japanese. I don't know why he can't just get someone from the other country to come over and marry him and be the beard or whatever. I don't know. I hear stories. Forget that. Whatever. It's so weird. It's just a plot hole. It's just like, there's an easier way of doing this. He was very dramatic. He was very sad. You felt for him a bit. It's just like, oh man, he just wants to make his family proud and not be disowned, but also, see other people. It's like, oh man, that feels bad. I feel bad. I felt bad for poor Kyle. But Lisa said no. So then after that, she is extremely sad. And then manager guy from her clothing store just busts into her room, or house, or her apartment, when she's all alone. She's all alone, she's all sad. Manager dude busts in her room, and he is drunk. And this is where he sounds like Tommy Wiseau. He's like, Lisa, I love you. I know I'm married. I can't fucking do it right now. He's like, I love you, Lisa. I want to have sex with you and everything. And Lisa is like, oh, gross, no, not a chance. And then Prince the doggo comes and saves the day, and he attacks him. And the camera angle of this, it's just, it shows the manager dude and Prince together, and it kind of gives like the violent, feel, I guess, but you can clearly tell the dog isn't doing shit. So whatever. So then the manager goes away, and she's like, Lisa, you're fired. Lisa's like, I quit, like a baller. And yeah, it was so funny. So, okay. So here's another funny bit. So another funny bit about Prince the dog is sometimes whenever... I can't even explain the timing that he does this, but he sings. He sings with no background music. He just sings randomly about what's currently happening sometimes. And I feel as though they didn't have the funds to get like music or get a producer to produce the music, just like a few piano keys type of stuff. No, they just had the dog sing, which was weird. I don't know. That was one of the parts I didn't like. It's just like, it was funny the first time because it was just kind of offsetting because he was singing when Lisa was super depressed. And, it was super funny. Super funny. So he sings. Does that throughout the movie. Does it like 3 or 4 times. And each time it gets cringier. So then Lisa gets upset and she takes more, and I take it they're sleeping pills that she's taking. She takes a few sleeping pills and she's like, forget this life, and takes all the sleeping pills. And then she ODs. She doesn't die. Doesn't die. Prince finds that out, or sees her lying on the ground, puts his life on the line, lays in front of traffic so a car will stop and a random guy will run up and somehow follow him to the apartment and then dial 911 and get to, and save Lisa's life. So Lisa's life is saved. And then Lisa, after 2 minutes at the hospital, apparently, I guess it only takes that long, goes and finds Prince, and she's like, Prince, you're the only thing for me. I love you. I don't need no man. And, those type of lines, you're just like, ooh, where's this movie going? And, you don't want to think like that, but you can't help but think that. It's just like, what's this movie trying to say here? But then, luckily for the audience, and luckily for me, Prince turns into a person. Prince turns into a person, naked person, and I think he looks like a younger brother of the guy who plays like Bruce Banner in the Avengers. I can't think of his name right now. But so it's what this movie considers extremely attractive, like godlike attractiveness in this guy who used to be Prince, the dog. So then, he becomes a human. He's like, Lisa, it's me. I'm a human. And Lisa's like, what the hell? And then he's like, well, here's the deal, Lisa, is the reason why I was cursed to become a dog is because I was a playboy. I was a playboy person, and that's the reason. And, so it was weird. That was a weird part, because at that part, you'd think, like, okay, so my name's not Prince, it's actually this. He doesn't do that. He doesn't do that at all. So for the rest of the movie, he's called Prince. And I would have to look back at this part, but I think he might have said in a previous life he was a playboy, but I think he said flat out, I was just a playboy who got turned into a dog. I think it was that. So that was the case. It was strange. It was a strange thing. It was such strange dialogue and explanation. It was such strange explanation on some parts that later didn't really get resolved. In meaning, like, for example, like, she called him Prince because she had no idea what his name was, but he already had a name, and when he became human, he didn't, like, say, oh, my name is this, so stop calling me Prince, dumb bitch. So then next, and then some weird sex scene happens. Something, I don't know. It was weird. It was strange. Anyways, so that same night they have sex or whatever. I don't know. And then in the morning, Prince, formerly known as Dog, becomes Prince back into Dog. So the rule is with this movie, or with Prince the Doggo, is that at daytime he is a dog. Whenever the sun is risen, when the sun is shining, he is a dog. But whenever the sun is not visible or not shining, he becomes a human. Which, if I haven't already seen that in one crappy movie before, I would have thought that was kind of interesting. There was like this polar bear Christmas movie where this guy turned into a polar bear by day, but at night he was a guy, and him and his loved one could have sex or whatever. It was a weird movie. Or no, yeah, he could. I'm not talking about the movie. The movie was stupid. I hated that movie. But so this whole thing has already been done before, and I was like, oh, okay, whatever. And, it's been done, but I guess that's that. And so then, you get a bunch of cuts of Lisa and Prince being basically a married couple. They do the married thing where by day he is a dog, by night he is a man, and for a time it works, but at certain times it got a little weird. It got really weird. It's weird by like, there was one part where they decided to take a bunch of photos together, but Lisa and this is when Prince was human. Prince was human, and Lisa decided to put on a dog collar on Prince the human and take pictures with him like that. Like, it was, at that point, it's just like, wow, she's got some weird dog fetish now. I can understand that, she's taking the pictures because it's ironic, but I mean, it didn't look good. It looked weird and creepy, and it was such a strange feeling. Oh, one thing I should mention too is I'm not too sure. Now I'm not sure because if it was the audio quality of when Prince was a dog and when Prince would talk and there was that audio quality of a weird guy talking, and whenever he was human, he would talk differently. What I'm saying here is I don't know if the guy doing the dub of the dog is the same guy who plays human Prince. So it was weird. It was weird. I didn't really like Prince the human because, you already have this image of Prince the dog being a weird goofball with zinging corny one-liners, and you love him for that. And he's just like, he's racist, type of stuff. But when he becomes human, there's no weird, goofy attitude. He's just a regular guy in the sense of he just acts normal. He doesn't have weird zinging one-liners. He's not a sarcastic asshole. He's not a twit. It's just weird. I didn't like that. I don't know what happened there. I don't know why they didn't keep the same character type whenever he would transfer. Because when he went back to dog during the day, he was sarcastic asshole dog. So it was weird. I didn't like that. I liked weird asshole dog. I was like, man, that sucks. So that was the rule. So Prince the doggo and Lisa. Oh, I shouldn't say it like that. Lisa argues with Prince the dog at a park, and that scene made me laugh. Like, so during the time of everything going well, there comes a time where Prince isn't happy, and Prince the doggo isn't really acknowledging Lisa, and Lisa in the middle of a park and with people. I love this scene. It looked hilarious. I just couldn't imagine. I could imagine real life people doing this. Lisa starts yelling at Prince the dog in the middle of a park, and just like, why don't you love me? I'm doing this for you. Are you upset? Why don't you? What's the problem? And it's weird because it's like, he's a dog, man. Dogs can't talk. So then Prince goes on to the Glitter Fairy and is like, hey, we're in love. What's the problem? And then the Glitter Fairy's like, well, you can't really say that's love because you can't provide for her. You're not providing for her. If you provide for her, I mean, you're closer to love. And Prince is like, oh, well, that's annoying. And so then he goes on and so he goes on and he's just like, Lisa, in human form. Lisa, I want to make money, and the only way I can make money is during the day. And during the day, there's only like one chance of me making money, which is through that animal talent agent. And Lisa's like, oh, no, don't do that. And that was the end of the discussion. So, oh, by the way, Lisa has a new job at this point. So Lisa goes on, the next day, Lisa goes on to her job, to her new job. And then Prince the doggo tries to get in contact with the agent. He just randomly runs up to the talent agent building, and the agent just doesn't catch him. So then he decides, in human form, to call him and then be like, hey, I'm the guy, or I have the dog. I have the dog that you were looking for, and he will be at your building at 9 a.m., and any money that you pay him in cash, and just give it to him. So, oh man, right there, so many red flags as far as like, well, that's not how business works, dude. But that's the disbelief thing that we have to put on. Just be like, okay, I guess, whatever. Who cares? Who cares? It's a weird fucking love. It's a weird love story. I don't really like that love story of a dog. But, so, next day, Prince the doggo goes to the building, goes and just sits in front of an agent and then somebody who's looking for talent for a commercial, and just like, this is the dog that's amazing. It's such an amazing dog. And she's like, prove it. And then the agent dude is actually Asian as well. So the agent dude is like, hey, doggo, grab the red phone. And, dog grabs the red phone. And the agent and the person looking for talent is like, oh, yeah, he did it. He did it. And like I said, this is something that might be going right over my head. I don't know what's so amazing about it. I mean, you tell a dog to sit, it's not a big deal. You tell a dog to shake your hand, it's not a big deal. Roll over, not a big deal. But how blown away these people are by a dog. I mean, dogs. I mean, some dogs are colorblind, if not all. I don't know. I forget that rule or that logic. I forget. But just like grab that thing. It's not a big deal. It's not a big deal for me. I just don't care. But then then he's just like grab that phone, that color phone, and then he does, and you're like, oh yes, and then so the dog gets the gig. So then he starts making money. And gets Lisa a dress that Lisa had pointed out before that she couldn't buy because she didn't have the money. And Lisa's like, oh my God, this is beautiful. Where did you get the money? And Prince, this is a weird part because, Prince was like, oh, don't worry about it. And then Lisa gets mad. And Prince just doesn't want to tell her. Which, I mean, it's like, I get it. And I get that as far as like, oh, you did want to tell her because she didn't approve of it right away. The part that doesn't make sense for me is when the next scene, Prince Doggo and Lisa are watching television, and all of a sudden this commercial comes up or something comes up. I don't know what came up, but this commercial came up where you see Prince the Doggo fighting a ninja. And, Prince did try to hide it, but Lisa's just like, oh, this is what you're doing? Oh, okay, whatever. It's like, just before you had a problem with him doing this type of work, but now you're okay? Okay, that's fine. That's fine. I don't really care. That's fine. So then, then Prince is like, why am I still becoming Doggo? And so then he goes back to Glitter Water Spirit and is just like, hey, ya bitch. What now? And the Water Spirit lady is all like, well, now you need to receive love. And Prince, being the horn dog that he is like, oh, okay, so I just have to have sex. Or something. And so then, they decide to try to have sex, which was weird. But so they were working on it. Then all of a sudden, Paula the whore comes in, buzz killing it, just kills it. Comes in, and for whatever reason, Lisa's like, "Oh, I need to hide Prince the human." He was a human, by the way. She wasn't trying to have sex with a dog. He was a human. She's like, "I need to hide Prince the human." She hides Prince away, and Paula's like, "Oh, my car broke down, not too far away from here. I need to come in here and stay the night because whatever." And so Lisa is, frantic. She's scared. She's like, "Oh, I don't want Paula finding Prince in my house or something for whatever reason. Even though Paula wants me to find a guy or something, but I want to hide this." I get it. You don't want to be like, "Oh, here's a guy, but he can only come out at night. During the day, it's not such a good time. He's too busy being a dog." I get that. A little bit. But so then Paula, sure as shit, finds Prince, and she's freaks out. She freaks out. She's just like, "What the hell is he? What is he doing here? What, Lisa? What?" And she's pissed. And it's like, "Hey, Paula the whore, weren't you upset that she wasn't like with a guy or with multiple guys? She was with 2 guys. You didn't have a problem, and now she's with 1 guy." She's just like, "Why didn't you tell me about him? You were trying to come off as this goody two-shoe virgin, but now you're hiding this guy? Oh, I hate you," and leaves. And then Lisa gets reasonably upset. I'd be upset too, because it's like, "Paula, what the hell do you want?" Paula, I don't get you. It was such a weird thing. People get mad in this movie for weird reasons. But then, she's like, Paula's gone. So that's that. And then, so I guess the point of this is Lisa's keeping this a secret from everybody. Everyone, including her mother and Rita, understandably. I don't go running around telling my parents' friends that I'm seeing somebody. Like, I don't make it as far as, like, if I'm seeing somebody and the people to know I'm seeing somebody, I don't be, like, trying to hit up my parents' friends. I just don't. But, so then all of a sudden, Rita, still in the mindset of, like, "Ooh, Lisa, I'm not going to try for an accent. Lisa's not seeing, is not, not with a guy, so I'm going to help her get into the mood of it." So then Rita busts into where Lisa works and is super weird, being extremely weird. And Lisa's like, "Why did you come in now? I'm about to close." And Rita's like, "Oh, I just got done watching the airplanes leave from the airport." I'm not kidding. That's what she said. She's just like, "I was at the airport just watching the planes come in and come out and come in and come out." That's what she said. That was the reasoning. And then Lisa's like, "Okay, Rita, you have to leave now. I am closing." Rita's like, Okay. See you soon. See you very soon." And it's like, well, that's creepy. I'm going to have nightmares tonight. So then Lisa starts walking back to her car or something she's walking. All of a sudden, Rita's just hiding behind a random truck, and she's like, "Surprise!" And Lisa's like, "What?" And she's like, I'm surprising you. I'm going to take you out somewhere. Now, to that, for that was a giant, why didn't you just say that in the store? It's just like, "Lisa, we're going to go somewhere after you get off work. We're going to go do something. All right? Cool. I'm not going to be weird about this. This has nothing to do with airplanes." So Lisa and Rita drive to a Hispanic restaurant where Lisa runs into meets up with her mom. So her mom's part of the plan. And her mom's like, "Wear this dress." And Lisa's like, "Okay, cool, it's green." So she wears the dress. So then she wears the dress. They all sit down at the kitchen table. And as soon as they sit down, this guy goes up and like, "Will you dance with me?" And Lisa's like, "Oh, no." And Rita's like, "Oh, yes." So then Lisa's like, "Okay." And they go up and they dance. And all of a sudden, in the midst of her and this one guy dancing, another guy grabs her and starts dancing with her. And then this is where things get kind of weird, and probably one of the worst parts in the movie is the guy dances her back to her chair, like straight up, like slow dances her back to her chair. And all of a sudden, the previous guy who was dancing with her comes up, and then some other guy comes up. So there's 3 guys trying to get with her or dance with her, and she's like, "What the hell is going on?" And then Rita or her mom, I don't know. I was trying to understand what was happening. I should have just rewatched it, but Rita and Lisa's mom are like, "Oh, we paid these guys to dance with you." And it's like, why the hell did you do that? That was cruel. That's mean. Why did you even admit to it? Why did you hire 3 guys? If you had 1 guy that agreed to do this, why did you get 2 more? That was the clusterfuck of a plan. Like, seriously, that was a stupid plan. Like, I understand, like, if we get this 1 guy to do it, if we get someone to dance with her, maybe it'll boost her confidence to see men. The whole point of the plan was to get her more interested in, trying to get with another guy or something. But the dumb bitches hired 3 guys and totally ruined the plan. It would have gone perfectly well if they just had to hire 1 guy and maybe told the other 2 was like, hey, there's like, I mean, this isn't a good part. I mean, 1 guy. The plan should have just been 1 guy. If you got 1 guy to do it, you don't need 2 more or even 1 more. But if you're going to hire 3 guys, you need to tell all of them, hey, there's also 2 other guys going to be dancing with her on this plan. Don't be dumb, okay? But no, that didn't happen. That was the dumbest part of the scene. And yeah, so it's shown here that, like, Rita is way more involved with Lisa's life than she needs to be. It's so weird. And then you also realize, like, oh, Rita and Lisa's mom are also very close too. Uncomfortably close. Not like intimate close, but like Rita's way too involved in Lisa's life. Is all I'm saying. And then, okay, so this is the part where I don't know if I just wasn't paying attention before. But if it comes down to the syncing of the audio and the visual, this is where it started going to hell. Meaning the audio and the visuals didn't match. People would be moving their lips, and the audio wouldn't match up for it. It just wouldn't. And I was like, that just looked like that. It just looked lazy. I think it was just like, we're not gonna get it right on this. This is good. We didn't use a marker. If I had to guess, that's probably what happened. They didn't use a marker or something. But yeah, it was a bad lip sync. I don't know why they just didn't spend a little extra time just making sure that was okay. So then, in the midst of her freaking out over the 3 guy thing, Lisa's like, I have a boyfriend. And then Rita and her mom are like, oh, let's meet him. And I'm sitting on the couch like, Rita, you don't need to meet anybody. Back the fuck off. But, whatever. So then they all meet each other in an Italian restaurant. Which, the scene was kind of funny because they all had like some sort of, soup, and all of them synchronized when they put the spoon to their mouth and put it back down. It was such a weird scene. Like, they did it 4 times where they put the spoon up, down to get whatever soup they got and put it back up in order to eat it. So then Rita and her mom are grilling Prince. And it's what you kind of fear when meeting your companion's parents. They did everything that you are afraid of, like, what kind of job do you got? You better not hurt her type of stuff. It's just like, you kind of sit there and you think, well, you think you would have raised her better than it being with somebody who would hurt her physically or mentally like that. You think whatever. It was weird. That's what I fear. So I fear it's just like, you better treat her right. You better be nice to her. You better have a good job. Good job thing scares the shit out of me. But anyways, so they do that, and Prince is like, oh no, I have a job. I'm a banker. Lies about it. Covers. I mean, nobody but Lisa and Prince know that Prince turns into a dog during the day. So that's the big secret. That's the big risk or whatever. So now this movie doesn't give a good sense of how long things have gone. Meaning, like, at this point you don't know how long Lisa and Prince have been technically married, common law married or whatever. But I got the sense it wasn't very long. It was maybe like 3 weeks. But this part comes back to what I said earlier. Rita and Lisa's mom are like, "Oh, so you're gonna marry her, right? We can go to get your marriage license." And I'm saying like, "Holy shit! Do people expect to get married that quick?" I understand they're really like wanting Lisa to get married, but make sure this is the right guy. Don't just jump into this shit. But I mean, it was so quick. They were just like, "Get married," and it's like, "Hey, hold on, lady, back off for a second." And so, Prince is like, "Yeah, we'll get married, or we'll get a marriage license or whatever." And so, then all of a sudden, Lisa and Prince are to themselves, and Prince being the smart one here, being like, I can't do any of that." And she's like, "Why?" He's like, "Well, one, I turn into a fucking dog." And Lisa's like, "Oh, we can do something at night or whatever." And then he says something that confused me, and he goes on to say, "Well, Lisa, I don't have any form of ID," which was weird because I don't know. I mean, the ending of this movie kind of might have explained it for me, but beforehand, nothing really did. But you know, you kind of were given the idea that he once before having half a life of being a dog and then, you know, at nighttime being human, he was always a human. He said he was a Playboy player. You know, you assume he would have ID, but I guess that's just not the case. So that was a problem. So the next day, they go to the courthouse or whatever to get the marriage license or whatever, and Prince doesn't show up, and the mother and Rita are all sorts of upset. And you're just sitting there like, "Rita, you fucking bitch. Why do you care so much? You know, you are way too involved. You need to get a life of your own. You don't even have your own kids." Or no, she does. She actually does. I'm sorry. She does have her own kids. It's like, you need to worry about your own kids. You are way too worried about Lisa. Back the hell off, bitch. Is what my mind was going into. But yeah, so then doesn't show up. That's that whole scene. And then nextly goes on to where Prince and Lisa are together in the apartment, and all of a sudden Rita barges into the apartment and is like, "Oh, I am so dizzy. I have to drive my daughter to airport or something. Lisa, can you do it?" And Lisa's like, "Okay, we can go do that." And then Rita is like, "Oh no, I need to stay here." And Lisa's like, "Okay." And Prince, it's like, okay. And it's like, if that wasn't such an obvious ploy to get in the house for whatever reason, I don't know what it was, but they didn't see it. So then Lisa leaves. Prince leaves the house for like a minute, comes back in to find Rita is kind of like digging in, searching for stuff. And he's like, what are you up to? And then Rita starts asking a bunch of questions like, "Prove that you have a job. Show me your ID. Show me all this stuff." And Prince is like, shit. And then bolts. And Rita starts chasing after him. For whatever. Rita needs to back the fuck off. Honestly, Rita pissed me off. I hate it. She was my least favorite. It's like, Rita, Rita's way too involved. The problem with Rita's character is that could have just been played by the mom. Everything Rita had said or had done could have been the mom's role. Rita had no reasoning being a character in the movie. So that's probably why I didn't like Rita. I just didn't feel like her being there had no purpose. Where all her parts could have been the mom's parts. Anyways. So Rita starts showing up, or chasing Prince, and then Prince hides into a bathroom, and it's almost daytime, and then Rita's outside the bathroom. She opens the door. Prince Doggo comes out, and she goes in, doesn't find Prince, and she's like, "What the fuck?" Ugh. So Rita confesses to Lisa what she had done, and Lisa says one of the best things to say to someone like Rita. Rita, get out of my life. And Rita's like, "Really? You want me out of your life?" And Lisa's like, "Yeah, get out of my life." And then all of a sudden Rita's like, "Well, if I'm out of your life, your mom is too." And it's like, what? I don't know why they thought Rita was a necessary character. Like I said, like if it was the mom character saying all this stuff and the mom character doing all these things, it would make sense. But if you're going to tell me that, a family friend has the capability of keeping a mother and a daughter away from them, away from each other, I don't believe it. So I didn't like Rita's character. I didn't like her. I really didn't. So So Lisa goes walking around. This is after everything. So at this point, Lisa has no whore Paula, no oddly weird family friend Rita, and no mother. So she's walking around. She comes across this playground park of children, and this Chinese mother asks her, "Hey, can you take a picture of me and my kids?" And then it's just two kids, and Lisa is just tweaking balls, being like, they're so adorable. Look at these kids. And she's like, "Hey, woman, what's your secret for having children?" And then the Chinese woman, gives her a secret. So she's got a Chinese secret. And so then the next scene, you see Lisa trying to have sex with Prince in a car, and Prince is like, "Well, what are you doing?" And Lisa's like, "I got a Chinese secret." And he's like, "What's that?" And she's just like, "The best way to have children is to have eccentric, exciting sex or whatever." And I'm sitting there like, that was the secret? Okay. And Prince is like, "Well, no, I don't want to do that." I mean, and she's like, "Why don't you want to do that? Why don't you want to have kids?" And Prince, being the reasonable one, being like, "I don't want to run the chance of them being like me, them being half dog, half human. I mean, half dog, dog one part of the day, human the other part of the day. And I didn't want that. And also, I would be a dog half the time." And Lisa's like, "Oh, that'd be fine. It would be cool. It'd be all right. Let's take a chance." And Prince is like, "No, you crazy bitch." And Lisa's like, "You upset me." So Lisa gets kind of upset this part of the movie. She's getting upset with Prince not being able to do things because during the day he is a dog. And at this point of the movie, you're like, Lisa, you knew this was the case. This wasn't going to change or whatever. Like, I didn't get that. I was like, why are you getting mad about this now? This is something you should have considered beforehand. But she's just like, "Why don't you ever take a chance and come out during the day with me?" And Prince is like, "'Cause I'll turn into a fucking dog." And it's like, you're damn right. Prince is the reasonable one here. Look at discount Bruce Banner. Lisa, you jerk. But anyways, Lisa all of a sudden, realizes, so you're telling me that the only time you can come out is if the sun is out. And Prince is like, "Yeah." He's like, "Well, if the clouds are covering the sun, you'll still be a human." And Prince is like, "Oh, well then, I guess we can go." Oh, I'm sorry. Lisa wants Prince, to do outside stuff, like meet her boss. It's weird. Weird thing. I don't understand relationships, maybe that's my problem. But she's like, "Oh, you should meet my boss." And he's like, "No, I don't know." And then she brings up the cloud thing, and is like, "Oh, well, I mean, if I don't turn into a dog because of the clouds, I'll totally meet your boss." But Lisa's whole reasoning and such huge pressure on this is her reasoning is, "I want you to meet my boss so I can get promoted." Such a weird thing. I wish if I had known, if that's the case of getting promoted up in the world, is if you get, if you bring your significant other, it's just like, "I have met your wife. You get promoted, Jonah." It's like, holy shit. That's amazing. I'd get married so many times, I'd fucking run a company. It's such weird reasoning. But, but somehow it works. So she brings Prince to her boss's family. And, the boss is like, "Oh, what a handsome young lad. I want you to be manager while me and my wife go on vacation," type of deal. All this talky talk. So things are looking up. And then, all of a sudden, the sun comes out. And Prince turns into a dog before the boss's children's very eyes. And then everything's fucked, apparently. Apparently that fucked up everything. I say that kind of sarcastically, but I don't know. I don't know why that would fuck up everything, but that's the case. So then, Prince is upset. Lisa's upset. And Lisa is like, ugh, I just wish you could be human all the time. At this point, she's like, Lisa, you know what you were getting into. Stop doing this. Stop doing this. But then, all of a sudden, now this is the part where things kind of get fuzzy in the sense of like maybe there was reasoning beforehand of some of the things that were said, but wasn't really explained. It was explained terribly, this part. Prince goes on, well, there is another way of me becoming human. And Lisa's like, how? He's like, if I become reborn. So Prince is basically suggesting he dies. And, as an audience, it's like, where did Prince get this idea? We didn't see Glitter Fairy Bitch tell him to do anything. The last thing we saw was for him to receive love. And, it's just like, where the hell did he get this idea? But this part does explain if him being a dog was him being reborn into a dog. It kind of makes sense, but it doesn't. It didn't really make any sense. But so he suggests maybe I should become reborn, and Lisa's like, oh no, let's not do that. And Prince is like, okay. And then Prince decides to leave. Prince is like, I'm gonna leave. And then he leaves. He meets up, and Lisa's extremely upset. And Prince Doggo meets up with Glitter Bitch, and it's just like, ugh, damn it. And then basically what Glitter Bitch says is just like, try harder. She's like, hey, the thing you were doing? Why don't you try a little bit harder towards it? Maybe you'll reach your goal. And Prince Doggo is like, hey, you're right. And then he goes running back. Now, this is a part I'm going to put up spoilers. There's already spoilers before, but this ending is so amazing. I love the ending. I'm going to say this right away. I love the ending. And I'm not going to say it without giving a spoiler warning. You should watch it, Love on a Leash. It is on YouTube, full movie and everything. You should watch it. I did enjoy this movie. It was a good, bad movie. And you should watch it. I'm going to spoil the ending now. So here's your last chance. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so then Prince decides to run back to Lisa, being like, I'll try harder. I will make this work out. And Lisa is kind of sitting on the steps of her apartment, and Prince Doggo is running. He's a dog. Is trying to cross the street running. And this is the point of the movie where you're like, oh, that's right. This is a dog movie. How didn't I think this was going to happen? Prince Doggo gets hit by a fucking car. Oh my God. I was so happy. It was so amazing because it's like, that's such a stereotypical dog movie thing, dog movie book, anime, cartoon thing to do. So you kill off the dog. And I totally forgot this was a dog movie. I didn't even see that one coming. I would have thought like, dog's gonna die. It always happens. But you don't think it's a dog movie. But yeah, so he gets hit by a car. And he dies. So he dies. And Lisa is upset, understandably. She witnesses before her very eyes, and she's like, shit. She gets back in contact with her mom and Rita for some fucking reason, and is like, Prince died, and her mom and Rita are like, you have to promise us that you will try to get married. You'll try to find somebody else. You'll be just fine, whatever. And Lisa's like, no, I just can't. I can't do it. I only love Prince. And so then the next thing you see is years later. It doesn't give an amount of years, and the makeup team or whatever didn't do a very good job of really showing the age of it. The dialogue kind of said it. But it says years later, you see Lisa in the same apartment. Her hair is a little different. And all of a sudden you see her put up a room for rent sign up, and all of a sudden Paula the whore comes walking in with a bunch of kids. So at this point, you're thinking like, oh, so maybe 10 years have passed? Okay. But then Paula goes on to explain, oh, these are my grandkids. So a lot of years, like a lot of decades have passed. And then you kind of see there's a bit of gray in Lisa's hair. So it's just like, oh, so probably like 50 years have passed or something. Holy shit. So, so then, oh God. So then Lisa goes on to explain to Paula, being like, I stayed here. I still love Prince. I realized now that, I was, even though he gave me love and loved me unconditionally, what would have saved him and turned him into human is if I loved and accepted him for who he was. Which was kind of heart-shattering, I felt that. I was like, damn. That's right. The whole point was him to receive love, and she wasn't really loving him at all. She was being upset with him in the sense of like he's a dog and a half human. And you're like, wow, this movie hit me. Oh my God! And it's kind of sad that it did, but it did. It was so funny. I loved it, and she's like, I should have just loved him for who he was. And I was just like, I think we should love everybody for who they are. You're right, Love on a Leash. That's what we should do. And that was kind of the message of the movie, and I loved it. It was an adorable little message. I was so happy. So then, so Paula takes the room, and Lisa goes on, and kind of around the apartment, and gets a knock on the door. Knock on the door, and you don't see who it is, but you kind of recognize the voice. She talks to this guy, and the guy's like, is this room still for rent? And Lisa's like, nope. And he's like, oh, too bad. Whatever. You must love dogs or something, because he sees like a leash and a collar. All of a sudden, he turns around, and who would it be? But it is human Prince resurrected. Woo! He's back. Oh. He's back. But that was something Lisa kind of accounted for. And I missed this. So when Lisa and Paula were talking, Lisa was saying something along the lines of like, oh, well, it's been so long. Prince is our age. And then Paula says kind of the biggest correction of that whole part, where it's just like, well, Lisa, he wouldn't be our age. He would be the age he was when he died as a dog. Meaning like, if it was like 30 or 40 years ago, he'd be 30 or 40 as compared to our 60. So we'd be quite the age difference apart from his resurrected body. And Lisa's like, I never thought of it that way. And it's just like, well, that's what you get for being a hopeful bitch. But, so Prince Human comes back. He's resurrected, man. It was crazy. He's back. He's there. He's fully human. And, oh, man, one of the funniest parts. I laughed so hard at this part. But Prince is like, yeah, I'm having a really good life. I'm a successful dog trainer. And it was so funny. Oh, by the way, Prince totally remembers everything. He remembers the whole love thing. He remembers Lisa. He remembers everything. He's there. And, he's like, Lisa, I never stopped loving you. And Lisa's like, oh. Then all of a sudden you see Prince's hair turn gray. So then all of a sudden his age matches Lisa's. So that part's not weird. So we don't have any some older granny, younger stud boy type of romance there. So they're together, and all of a sudden the next scene is them basically getting married. They start off gray hair. They're kissing. They're in a tuxedo. They're in a dress, and she's in a dress, and they're kissing. The camera's kind of like zooming around, showing that nobody is there. Not intentionally. It's just like you look and like, oh, so nobody showed up to their wedding. It's just those two. And they're kissing, and then all of a sudden, for whatever reason, now this part was just weird. They go back to their younger selves. So that was that. And that was the movie. And oh man, I gotta say, I actually did like this movie. This was a good, bad movie. This movie was hilarious. I love this movie. It was funny when it wasn't supposed to be, and it was funny when it was trying to be. Like when Prince Doggo's humor and his dialogue came up. There's a bunch of stuff there. It was so funny. I liked this movie. I was happy. I was pleased with the movie. I just came across this movie on the internet, and just saw that, and I looked at the trailer of it, and that was my fault. I should stop looking at the trailers of these movies because they give up too much. I should have just went on a hunch and be like, I should watch this movie and just feel it, because I watched the trailer for after last season, and the animation got kind of spoiled for me. If I would have walked in watching that movie, not knowing anything, and came up to that animation, it would have been such a pleasant surprise. And with this movie, if I would have known that the overdub of the dog talking would have been as horrific as it was, or as kind of weird as it was, I should say, I would have been extremely happy. But I came across that trailer. It wasn't that bad. No, this is a movie I would suggest to people. This movie's hilarious. I mean, if you're trying to get together with a bunch of friends and want to watch a dumb, stupid, not such a great movie, this is the movie to watch. The production is not that great. It's a little better than Birdemic. The audio throughout the movie is pretty bad. It's pretty bad. But, it's such an enjoyable movie, it's forgivable. As far as what I would rate this, as far as like, really, it'd be a 2 out of 10, 2.5, 2 out of 10. It's not it's a good bad movie. It's such a funny movie. It's so bad, it's so good. You can watch it, and you could rewatch it and still enjoy it. It's a funny movie. I loved it. And like I said before, when that last part where they're just like, I should have just loved him for who he was. Oh man, that touched me. Oh my God, I couldn't believe it. It was just like, the world should do this. I don't know. I feel stupid for that, but I don't know. I can't help my feels. It was such a funny movie. I suggest this movie. This movie's great. Yeah, I can't really think of too much else to say. I think I said everything I want. I didn't really like Rita it was such a weird character, Rita. Paula's a whore bitch who's really weird. I didn't like the whole her not stop being Lisa's friend for really no reason. Character Lisa, the acting. Okay, so the acting itself, it wasn't bad. It was like out of a high school grade point system. I give it a D. It's passable, but nothing to brag about. This is like a movie, like, if I took part of it and tried my best and that's what it showed, I wouldn't show my parents, type of deal. But like, it's not unwatchable. It's not after last season acting, but it was a good movie. And then the person who played Human Prince, discount Bruce Banner. I like the characters. It's funny. I think the whole Kyle thing that took me for a ride. So the writing was interesting. Execution probably wasn't what the creator wanted, but no, this is an enjoyable movie. I would suggest. It was a good bad movie. I love that. But yeah, so I'm gonna keep on trying to do this whole search for the worst thing. Just talking about bad movies, or not bad movies, poorly made movies. Because yeah, so far right away, currently on my list is After Last Season as being the worst movie I have ever seen. Oh God! But this movie doesn't come close to that as far as being bad. Because I could rewatch this. This is a good movie. I liked it. I took it for what it was. So I'm going to keep on trying to come up with this. Plus doing all our other stuff. Still got those anime reviews with those punks, those punk spooners. But yeah, so I will come back or do another one when I do another one. Guys, have a good time.